Success in any arena correlates directly with your ability to move people towards a positive outcome. Whether you're leading a team or navigating a personal relationship, influence is the mechanism that determines how much progress you actually make. While many dismiss these strategies as mere tricks or hacks, they're actually practical tools for navigating life. Becoming powerful and influential is a learned skill, one that allows you to present yourself more effectively to the world. We've broken this down into a precise 6-step framework. These are specific communication techniques designed to build immediate rapport and stabilize high-pressure situations. Methodical. To make this practical, I want you to select one interaction on your calendar today: a meeting, a date, or even a difficult conversation with a family member. You will use this framework as your field guide for that moment. Real influence doesn't come from being the loudest person in the room. It comes from being the most strategic in where you place your focus and how you validate those around you. Step 1 is the approach. Most people enter a room trying to be the most interesting person there, listing their achievements or trying to impress others with what they know. Usually, this just creates a barrier. The more effective strategy is to be genuinely interested. When you meet someone new, focus entirely on knowing them. Because you are showing interest in their life, they naturally become more inclined to take an interest in yours. Once the connection is established, move to step 2, the deep compliment. Standard praise for physical attributes, like someone's hair or shoes, is common and often feels shallow. To stand out, you have to compliment internal traits. Look for their character, their intelligence, or how they handle their emotions. These are the qualities people take pride in but rarely hear acknowledged. Instead of praising their appearance, tell them, "I love your thought process," or "the way you handled that situation showed a lot of stability." This dual approach creates a specific kind of depth in the interaction. By seeking to understand them and then validating their character, you differentiate yourself from the dozens of superficial interactions they have every day. Step 3 is the ask. When we need someone to do something, we often ask permission. "Can you do this for me?" Or "Could you send that email?" This phrasing actually makes it easier for the other person to say no. A more effective way to get things done is to start the sentence with the word "please," followed by the directive. Instead of asking a question, simply say, "Please edit this for me," or "Please make that call." This isn't about being bossy, it's about clarity. When you use a warm, polite directive, data shows that Step 4 is the deepening. In almost every conversation, there's a moment where the other person shares a personal detail or a thought. This is a vital window for building trust. When they share something, validate them immediately by saying, "I really appreciate that you told me this." Validating their openness makes them feel safe to share more. By combining clear directives with emotional validation, you create a reliable loop of trust and cooperation. Step 5 is the defense. Tension is inevitable, whether it's a sudden argument with a partner or a confrontation with a colleague who is acting on high emotions. In these moments, your instinct is to attack back. Instead, take a 1-second pause. Allow the other person's initial wave of emotion to land without pushing back immediately. Then, validate their feeling and offer a specific compliment on their behavior during the conflict. For example, tell them their point is valid and note that you admire how they remember every detail that affects them. This redirect moves the focus away from the attack. It helps defuse the hyper-emotional state of the other person and allows the conversation to stabilize, moving it back into a zone where you can actually talk. This tactic acts as a psychological shield. It isn't about losing the argument, it's about forcing a shift from a destructive emotional zone into a constructive one. Step 6 is the timing. Our brains are hardwired to discard the vast majority of what happens during a typical day, favoring only specific moments for long-term memory. To maximize your impact, use the bookend strategy. Schedule your most important meetings, interviews, or dates as either the first thing in the morning or the last thing in the evening. Look at a typical 8-hour workday. Most of what happens in those middle hours will fade away. However, people almost always remember how their day started and how it ended. By positioning your interactions at these bookends, you ensure that your presence remains at the forefront of their mind long after the day is over. You now have the full toolkit: the approach, the deep compliment, the polite directive, the validation, the defensive shield, and the timing. You have the ability to guide every phase of an interaction. Implementing these steps changes how you are perceived. It moves you from being a passive participant in your social life to an influential leader who understands the mechanics of connection. Look back at that upcoming interaction you chose earlier. Pick one specific tactic from this list to use in that conversation. Tell us which step you're going to test out today by leaving a comment below. Social dynamics don't have to be random or confusing. When you understand the underlying patterns, you can approach every conversation with a clear strategy for success.